Conclave 22 is the flagship investor summit of the government of Odisha. The biannual event showcases the investment opportunities of the state. In today's scenario, to attract the best of the investment, and as per World Economic Forum, the investments will be shifted to regions that has abundant talent fuel line. As we are aware, the world is going through a constant disruption, and COVID-19 pandemic has fast-tracked the adoption of technology across sectors. Hence, it is important for all the stakeholders to come together in a congregation like this to brainstorm for our future generation in terms of education and skilling. So everyone, today's session shall include multiple important events such as visionary views of the policy makers, views of our partners, partnerships that will enable our students adopt to the future skills, felicitating the 36 Smart Odisha Hackathon winners, and last but not the least, 3 brainstorming sessions with the industry stalwarts. So ladies and gentlemen, let's start the event, and I request you all please clap so that we can start in a good way. Thank you so much again. I hope you all are excited. Are you? Okay, so let's start, and before we start, let's welcome our prestigious guest for today's event to the stage. Please welcome with a huge round of applause our Honorable Minister, Skill Development and Rural Development, Shri Priti Ranjan Ghadai sir. Along with him, let me invite on stage Honorable Minister, Industry, MSME and Energy, Shri Pratap Kesri Dev. Let's invite our Consul General, Singapore, Chong Ming Fung sir. Welcome, sir. Now let's welcome Honorable Chief Secretary, Shri Suresh Chandra Mahapatra sir. Please welcome CEO ITEES, Mr. Bruce Poe. Welcome, sir. Please welcome Principal Secretary, Skill Development and Technical Education and Industry, Shri Hemant Sarma, sir. Now welcome CEO of OSD and DTD, Shri Raghuji, sir. And finally, let's welcome CEO of World Skill Center, Srimati Alka Mishra ma'am. I request all our guests to kindly come on stage, and I request the organizers, please give the token of love to our esteemed guests. All our guests are here. I request everyone, please clap for them. Welcome everyone once again. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. We are very happy to have you here. Thank you so much. about to start the program today. Now may I request Shri Hemant Sharma Sir, Principal Secretary to Government, Skill Development and Technical Education of Odisha, to deliver the welcome address.
On behalf of Skill Development and Technical Education Department, Government of Odisha, I extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Shri Preeti Ranjan Ghade, our Honorable Minister, Skill Development and Technical Education. Please give him a big hand. I also extend a very warm welcome to our special guest today, the Consul General from Singapore government, who is present here. Welcome, Your Excellency. I also extend a very warm welcome to another special guest who is not new to you and who was here earlier in 2018, Mr. Bruce Poe from IT Singapore. I also extend a very warm welcome to our own Captain of Team Bureaucracy Odisha, Shri Suresh Mahapatra, Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha. I also extend a very warm welcome to our very own Ms. Alka Mishra, the Chief Executive Officer of World Skills Center, Bhubaneswar. And my colleague, and whom you know very well and who has been working hard to make this event a grand success, Reghu Ji, Director Technical Education, Director Employment and Chief Executive Officer of Odisha Skill Development Authority. I also extend a warm welcome to all the delegates from technical professional institutions who have joined us today in this interesting plenary session on skilled in Odisha. I also extend a warm welcome to all the consultants, all the top leaders of the skilling, technical education and professional education ecosystem in India who have helped us in structuring our own Skilled in Odisha program, which has made a name for itself in entire India. A very special warm welcome to all of you. And above all, special welcome to all the participants from technical institutions, engineering colleges, management colleges, universities, polytechnics, ITIs, and the biggest gathering from the World Skills Center, Bhubaneswar, who are here in large numbers. A special welcome to all of you. This session has been structured in order to achieve two objectives. The first objective is to showcase before the world, before this distinguished audience here, what Odisha has achieved in the last few years in developing its own skilling ecosystem. What is it that we have done in improving our ITIs, our polytechnics, our engineering colleges, including private institutions who have come up in large numbers, that today Skilled in Odisha has grown and developed as a brand. What is it that has gone into making Skilled in Odisha as a known brand? We would want to showcase this before the larger audience today. This is the first objective of the session. The second objective of the session is to learn from our stakeholders, the technical institutions, professional institutions, and above all, the industry who employ our technical professional graduates and the pass-outs from our ITIs and polytechnics, to learn from them what is their requirement, how is their requirement today different from what they required yesterday, what is it that the industry will need tomorrow, day after tomorrow in terms of skilled employees. We would want to learn from you so that we can restructure, recalibrate and respond to your needs by giving you better, more employable, skilled, trained employees. So these are the twin objectives for today's session. We have a long day ahead. This session would go on for more than 2 hours. We have distributed these two objectives across 2 panel discussions, and I can assure you that we have brought before you most well-known professionals in the skilling ecosystem in India and from abroad. They are people who have made a name for themselves and are counted amongst the top-notch experts in the world in developing skilling ecosystems in India as well as in other countries. We also have representatives from some vital segments of industry where we feel that skilled in Odisha can make further progress and more impact in terms of creating more and better employment opportunities for the youth from Odisha. So this is the structure of the program today. On behalf of Skill Development and Technical Education Department, I once again welcome you to this exciting session and assure you that at the end of the session, all of us would have learned from each other and all of us would go back as more enlightened than what we were in the morning. Thank you so much.
Bye, Didi. Ah, Didi. Ah.
Okay, sir. Okay, okay. You don't worry, sir. I will try, sir. Okay. Hiya. Yes, sir.
ତମନା ସୋନାଲି ମୋ ନା ସପ୍ନା
କ'ଣ କହୁଛ ମୁଁ ବୁଝିପାରୁନି। ଓ ତମ ନା ସୋନାଲି? ମୋ ନା ସପ୍ନା।
Sapna, mikir kata cinta aku. Ja.
गाड़ी नंबर
video it is. Let's move on. In this complex world of disruption, it is important to forge strategic partnerships to constantly be ahead of the curve. One such partnership that Skill Development and Technical Education Department has forged in last Make in Odisha that has matured to more like a family for the department is our partnership with ITEES Singapore. ITEES Singapore has been one of our instrumental knowledge partner in our transformational journey of the TVET sector and helping our brand Skilled in Odisha go global. So ladies and gentlemen, let's invite our honorable guest, Mr. Bruce Po, CEO, IT Education Services, Singapore, to deliver his speech.
Sri Pritirajam Garaj, Honorable Minister, Skills Development and Technical Education, Government of Odisha, Mr. Chong Ming Fong, Consul General for Singapore and Mumbai, Sri Suresh Chandra Mohaputra, Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, Sri Herman Sharma, Principal Secretary, Skills Development and Technical Education, Government of Odisha, Sri Raghu, Director, Technical Education and Training, Government of Odisha, Srimati Alka Mishra, Chief Executive Officer, World Skills Center, Odisha, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. Firstly, let me congratulate the Government of Odisha for organizing this juggernaut event, Make in Odisha conclave, as the world embarks on a trajectory of recovery for businesses. This event is timely to showcase Odisha as an attractive investment hub. IT Education Services from Singapore is extremely honored to be a strategic partner of the Government of Odisha in skills development for Odisha and India. Our partnership started in November 2017 when ITs signed the first MOU with the Odisha Skills Development Authority to train 100 principals from the industrial training institutes, which has since been successfully completed. A year later, we signed the second MOU with OSDA to establish the World Skills Center in Bhubaneswar. The iconic 18-story WSC was officially inaugurated in March 2021 by your Honorable Chief Minister Sri Naveen Patnaik and commenced its first intake of students in January 2022. ITs also had the honor to deploy 5 IT senior management staff to support the management and operation of this premier skills training center. Today marks another significant milestone in the partnership of skills development between OSDA and ITs as we will embark on 2 initiatives. The first initiative is the implementation of a Singapore internship program for top graduates of WSC to take on a 6-month internship program with companies in Singapore. This internship program in Singapore will provide top-performing WSC students with international exposure and enable them to acquire new skills and work experience relevant to their training. The SIP will also raise the prestige of WSC and eventually position it as a global institute producing graduates not only for India but also for the global labor market. As a start, the first batch of 24 students will start their 6-month internship with companies in Singapore from January next year. The SIP will be implemented over 5 years for a total of 216 graduates covering 9 badges. I'm also pleased to announce that ITs have managed to seek funding support from Singapore government and private entities to support up to 50% of the cost of the SIP. On this note, it gives me great pleasure to specifically acknowledge and thank Singapore's Ministry of Trade and Industry, Sembcorp Marine Private Limited, Port of Singapore Authority, and the Amasa Capital Private Limited for their generosity in supporting this very meaningful cause. The second initiative is the award of IT's Skills Qualification Certificate for all WSC students who have successfully completed the course of study with WSC. This reflects the commitment and belief to build a robust system of high-quality skills training at WSC, where students are trained and assessed to the rigorous certification system guided by international standards. I'm therefore very pleased to announce that the first batch of students who have successfully passed the necessary exams and assessment will be awarded the ISQ Technical Advanced Certificates issued by ITs Singapore. On this note, I wish to commend and congratulate the Odisha government, led by your visionary Chief Minister, for the great strides achieved in the relentless pursuit of skills acquisition and human capital development. Over the last 3 years, I've heard many success stories relating to skills from Odisha, including achievements in the World Skills Competitions and the significant transformation of Odisha ITIs into Center of Excellence for Skills and Innovation. For this transformation, I must commend Sri Subroto Bakshi, Chairman of OSDA, for his vision in championing the skills development initiatives in Odisha. I also want to recognize Sri Sanjay Kumar Singh and Sri Herman Sharma, the former and present Principal Secretary for Skills Development and Technical Education, who have been providing valuable advice and guidance in our collaboration with OSDA. My appreciation goes to Sri Raghu, Srimati Rasmita, and Srimati Alka Misra, and the entire OSDA and WSC team who has been working tirelessly with ITs for the success of WSC in transforming Odisha's skills education and training system to build the Skills in Odisha branding in India and beyond. In conclusion, once again, I'd like to thank the government of Odisha for inviting ITs in this momentous event, and we are deeply honored to be an esteemed partner in your journey of transforming lives through skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your constant support, and we look forward to continue this partnership for many more years to come. Now, let me invite on stage our Chief Secretary of Odisha, Shri Suresh Chandra Mahapatra, Sir, IAS, to deliver his speech.
Honorable Minister, Skill Development and Technical Education and Rural Development, Government of Odisha, dignitaries on the dais, invited guests, representatives from different industries, different institutions, students, ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely delighted to be here today in this plenary session on skill development. As all of you know, Government of Odisha has given a lot of emphasis on skill development in last few years. In fact, a separate department was created few years back. So skill development and technical education department with separate minister and separate secretary and other officers, senior officers in the department. This indicates the focus the state has given, focus and importance the state has given to this sector. We have a huge, you can say, huge opportunity in this sector, not only in our state, in our country, because we are one of the youngest population in the world. In fact, we can provide skilled manpower to the entire world. Every year, crores of young skilled manpower we can provide in different sectors depending on the requirement to other developed countries where young population is diminishing and the number is quite low. As all of you know, skilling is a dynamic sector. Today's skill may become obsolete tomorrow. So we have to do a lot of research and we have to identify which are the areas where skilling will be required so that we can be future ready. Our state has created one skill development authority which is chaired by Sri Subrata Bakshi. Unfortunately, he is outside the country, otherwise he would have been here today. So this is the think tank created by the state government, Odisha Skill Development Authority, which is regularly discussing, deliberating, collaborating with different industries, different institutions to find out which are the areas where we can scale up our skilled manpower and provide a livelihood, much better livelihood opportunity to the young population of the state. After OSDA was formed, we have partnered with ITES Singapore. We are extremely thankful to them for partnering with our state. And for the first time, hundreds of principals of ITIs and polytechnics were sent to Singapore. They went there, they stayed there for few weeks, and they have come back. And now, World Skill Center, where we have partnership with ITS Singapore, is functional. For the first time, the first batch was admitted this year, and 8 trades are going to be functional very soon. Many of the trades have already started functioning, and this will act as a hub and spoke model for developing all our ITIs and polytechnics throughout the state. As Principal Secretary has already informed you, our ITIs and polytechnics have been completely refurbished, renovated. The HR, the manpower have been trained to meet the challenge of the future. Now, skilling in Odisha has become a brand. Skilled in Odisha has become a brand. Our skilled manpower, wherever they have gone, not only within the state, outside the state, within the country, outside the country, everywhere, they have earned an extremely good name and fame, and they have made our state proud. Odisha's skilled manpower has huge demand in every sector now. So I'll request the department and Odisha Skill Development Authority to regularly innovate, do a lot of research, collaborate with different industries, institutions to find out the requirement of manpower for the future, and we prepare ourselves accordingly. So this session is going to be extremely important in that respect, and we hope in future we'll be able to meet the demand, not only the manpower requirement, skilled manpower requirement within the state, within the country, we can provide huge number of manpower, skilled manpower to the entire world. So that is our vision. And you have already seen this, the Odisha's young boys and girls, they have done extremely well in world skill competition, which is at par with Olympics of skills, you can say. For the first time, we got a gold medal. India had never got a gold medal in world skills competition. First time, one boy from Odisha, he got a gold medal in world skill. So this is the quality, the intelligence, the sincerity of our young generation, which can reach any level actually. The unlimited scope, unlimited opportunities are available. We have to encash it. That is why this plenary session is exclusively on this subject, skill development and skilling in Odisha. I hope all of you who are present here today, participating today, will have lot of deliberations today, and whatever suggestions, conclusions comes, government will be willing to implement them. With this, I thank all of you for attending this plenary session. Thank you. Bande Utkal Janani. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much. Continuing with our spree of forging strategic partnerships, we will now have a slew of exchange of MOUs. May I request all our MOU partners to kindly be ready to come quickly on the designated spot to optimize the schedule. So let's start with the exchange of MOUs. We are delighted to announce that Skill Development and Technical Education Department and its line organizations shall enter into multiple memoranda of understanding with industry leaders and pioneers to further strengthen the brand Skill in Odisha. Now, each party shall exchange their signed copy of their MOUs. The first one, may I request the team from World Skill Center Bhubaneswar and Institute of Technical Education Services, Singapore, to exchange the MOUs which aims for implementation of Singapore internship program for World Skill Center students. Thank you. I would request both the teams to kindly stay back for another MOU exchange. It is time to exchange the MOU once again between World Skills Center and Institute of Technical Education Services, Singapore, for implementation of ITEES Skills Qualification Certification at WSC Bhubaneswar. Thank you. These partnerships with ITEES Singapore definitely takes us to the next level. Moving on to Odisha Skill Development Authority has initiated a program called Digital, Digital Skilling for All, which aims at bringing inclusively in digital skilling in the state of Odisha. Keeping this in line, Odisha Skill Development Authority is today partnering with IBM for digital learning for the students of Odisha, right from schools to technical education students. request the team from Directorate of Technical Education and Training Odisha and EVOS Buildcon Private Limited, a reputed and established real estate organization, to kindly join us for the exchange of the MOUs as a sign of partnership for establishment of material testing lab and research center at Bhuvanananda Odisha School of Engineering, Cuttack. Thank you. Now it's time to request the team of Directorate of Technical Education and Training Odisha and SMS Group, which is a future-oriented plan, construction and mechanical engineering company in the metal industry that aims in forging a partnership for collaboration on provision of industry-based training by infrastructure enhancement at Government ITI Bhubaneswar. Next in line is the partnership between Directorate of Technical Education and Training Odisha and Hexagon India, global leader in sensor, software and autonomous solution, to exchange the MOU for establishment of Geodetic Research Center at Bose, Cuttack. Now it's time to forge partnership with one of the household brand of the country. May I request team from Directorate of Technical Education and Training Odisha and Tata Steel Foundation to partner for operationalization of Government ITI Bansapal in PPP model. Thank you so much. Last but not the least, the world's best car hits the road with this brand. It's time for Directorate of Technical Education and Training Odisha and Yokohama Tire, a Japanese leader in tire manufacturing, to forge a partnership for recruitment of female candidates in Tibet ecosystem. Requesting team to kindly exchange the MOUs. Thank you so much. I request everyone kindly sit. Thank you so much. What a marathon session. These partnerships will definitely add another feather to the brand skill in Odisha. In its pursuit to become a global brand, and its future people will say, are you skilled or are you skilled in Odisha? And finally, it's time to hear from one of the most dynamic and young leader who is a policymaker of the state. An engineering graduate himself, he leads in a short span of time. He is our leader who leads from the front with innovative ideas and has always been disruptive in his execution. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Honorable Minister of Skill Development and Technical Education, Shri Pritiranjan Ghadai sir, to address the session.
Namaskar, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Chief Minister Sri Naveen Patnaik. His relentless effort today has made in Odisha a grand success. I request everybody to give a thanksgiving and great round of applause to Honorable Chief Minister Sri Naveen Patnaik. Friends, today present over here, the Honorable Chief Secretary, Sri Suresh Mahapatra, Principal Secretary Industries, Sri Hemant Sarma ji, and Sri Bruce Po, Senior Advisor, World Skill Singapore, Raghu ji, Xiang Pong and Alka Misra ji, media persons, and all the participants today. It is definitely a memorable day for the entire nation today. Entire globe is witnessing a historic moment today. Skilling in Odisha has definitely become a brand under the dynamic leadership, a visionary leadership of Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Naveen Patnaik ji. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you, especially delegates from the industry and institutes in this Make in Odisha Conclave 2022 on the Skill in Odisha session. I feel extremely privileged and honored to be part of this magnificent representation of my state skilling ecosystem. The occasion affords us the opportunity to reflect collectively on the current youth skilling status, the progress that we have made in implementing practical programs, strategies and policies to empower the youth of the state, and how to make Odisha as one of the skilling hubs of the entire nation. We are one of the proud states of the country to establish a state-of-the-art 18-story air-conditioned premier advanced skill training institute with nearly 500,000 square feet of space in the heart of the capital city of Bhubaneswar. The World Skill Center imparts advanced skill training in 8 trades from engineering and service sectors. A student capacity of more than 50,000 and a faculty strength of more than 3,000 in government-run ITIs and polytechnic institutes alone speaks about the scale of skilled workforce this state can produce. However, being one of the youngest nations in the world, the biggest challenge is to train a large number of youths in the skills which are required by the industry. Therefore, skill development in a country like ours needs huge amount of expansion of capacity, matching investments, and innovative delivery approaches. An undivided focus is therefore intended so that the gap between education and employment is bridged. In this regard, I feel myself to be responsible and obliged towards the youth to provide them the arena to provide themselves and streamline their skills. I would therefore invite the industry and academia to join hands and bear the torch in the path of skilling. Thank you. Bande Utkal Janani.
for your lovely words and your constant support. Now it's time to release the knowledge paper of the event. The department in last decade has gone through a complete transformation in line with the growth of Odisha as a state. It is time to release the Skilled in Odisha knowledge paper, which has been prepared by KPMG, a global leading consulting organization specializing in skills. Thank you, everyone. Before we move forward, we would like to say thank you to Mr. Bruce Poe for joining us today, as he has a flight to catch. So he will be leaving right now. I request everyone, please clap for him. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. I request our Honorable Minister Prithviranjan sir to give the memento to Bruce Poe sir. Now it's time to felicitate some of the best minds of the state and country. As you all are aware, since last Make in Odisha conclave, we have started 36-hour Smart Hackathon competition. This year, OUTR as the organizing partner and Hackers Earth as the knowledge partner has conducted the hackathon from 30th November and concluded on 1st December. Let us take a look at how the flow of events happen in hackathon.
To make this occasion a blessed one, we here remember the Almighty and would like to take this opportunity to call upon our revered dignitaries to light the lamp.
We are able to conduct the Smart Odisha Hackathon on behalf of Make in Odisha Conclave 2022.
When you are working in a team for a particular short-term goal or short-term durations to achieve a goal, there is an increase in pressure. That, in fact, improves your productivity.
Smart Odisha Hackathon is like I expected it to be the level it is. It's very, it's a great platform for learning.
Think about it, be simple and be innovative in your approach.
It provides a platform for the students to use their scientific knowledge and bring the best innovation from the brains.
What a spectacular video of these young innovative minds. Now we have 6 categories of hackathon, and that is education, agriculture, healthcare, ecology, climate change, environment and disaster management, housing and urban smart cities, and one overall category, Odisha state. So ladies and gentlemen, I request you all, please don't stop clapping as we are to award the winners right now, right here. So may I request all the third prize winners from all 6 categories to join us on the stage to receive the prize amount of 50,000. All the third prize winners, congratulations. I request our Honorable Minister Priti Ranjan sir to give them the check. I request all to pose for a photograph. Thank you so much all the third prize winners. Now let's welcome our second prize winners from all categories who are winning a prize amount of 75,000 rupees. So please welcome all the second prize winners on stage. I request everyone to cheer them up and congratulations to all of you. I request our Minister sir, please give away the check to the winners. And please everybody pose for a photograph. I request everyone, please clap for the winners. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for all our champions of this hackathon from all 6 categories to the stage. All our hackathon champions, please come on stage, and you are winning a sum of 1 lakh rupees. I request our Honorable Minister Priti Ranjan sir to give them the check. nation's champions. And everyone, please clap for our champions again. Thank you so much, young minds, and our winners for this achievement. Now, I'd like to request our additional secretary, sir, Shri Pinaki Patnaik, sir, to come up the stage and present the memento to our honorable guests. And these mementos has been crafted by government ITI students Qatar. Thank you so much. Now, it's time for a group photograph. So let me invite on stage all our dignitaries, our MOU partners, all our esteemed panelists and moderators, along with the senior officers from the department, Pinaki Patnaik sir, Additional Secretary, Shri Tapan Satpathy sir, Additional Secretary, and Srimati Rojina Das madam, Joint Secretary, and all the hackathon winners to come up the stage to pose for a photograph. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And this is where we end the meeting, and we will start our plenary sessions in few minutes. I request all our guests to take their seats. And in 2 minutes, we are about to start our sessions. So I request everyone to be seated. about to start our plenary session. I request everyone kindly take your seats. Please settle down as soon as possible so that we can start our session. ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ କରିବି ଟିକେ ବସିଯିବା ପାଇଁ ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଆମେ ଆମର ପ୍ଲେନେରୀ ସେସନକୁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିପାରିବା ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଅନୁରୋଧ ପ୍ଲିଜ୍ ବସିଯିବେ Kindly settle down. We are about to start our plenary session. Please clear the front stage. I request everyone, please settle down so that we can start our session. We are actually running late, so I request everyone kindly settle down so that we can start the event. I request everyone, please settle down so that we can start the session. सामने भी जो मैंने अच्छी मु अनुरोध करुच्ची प्लीज टिके बसी दिबे जल्दी तो आमे हमर सेशन स्टार्ट करिबा Once again, thank you all for coming. Now, it's time to start our first session. As we all know, in such conclave, the best of the mind meet, and it would be a crime if we do not hear their perspectives. So now we will be privileged enough to witness the industry experts and institute heads sharing their opinions, experience, and expertise from various perspectives to augment the linkage between industry and institutes. So it's time for our first plenary session. In today's disruptive scenario, it's time to shift the conversation from industry-academia collaboration to augmenting industry-institute linkages. The focus sector is manufacturing in the first session. And I request you all, please put your hands together for all our panelists, and they are Shri Sanjeev Sharma, Senior Vice President, SMS Group. Shri Shankar Venugopal, Vice President, Mahindra and Mahindra. Shri Praveen Kuruvalli, Head of People Strategy and HR Center of Excellence, ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel Limited. And for the session, we have our moderator, Dr. Sudesatwa Basu, Director, IMMT. I request all our panelists and moderator to join us on stage, and I request everyone, please clap for them to welcome them on stage. So please accept a token of love from our side. Now, I request our moderator, sir, to continue the session.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. S. Basu, Director of Institute of Minerals and Materials Technology. We work in the area of minerals and materials and metallurgy or metal. As the name says, I'm the director of the lab, and we do industrial R&D, and all the participants that we see in this Make in Odisha, especially the theme of minerals and metals, they are our client and we work together. We understand the importance of R&D. I would like to set this up, making few comments, and then we will go to a panelist for their deliberation or their viewpoints. India has approximately GDP growth of 7%. It can go up to 10% if we really work all together and with direction that CM of Odisha and Prime Minister is taking forward. The R&D investment, on the other hand, is about 1 to 2% of GDP, which is roughly about 2.5% of investment of GDP in developed countries. Let's say take the case of United States, about 2.29%. If you take the case of Korea, it is a little higher, in fact, 2.6%. So there is a gap that most of the R&D investment are coming from the government, less from the industry. Why it is so less from the industry? That is what the question. And we really need to work on it. We really need to look into it. The gap that is there in the R&D investment, which I just pointed out, obviously if industry participates in wholeheartedly and completely in India, it can also reach to about 2.5 or 3% of GDP in R&D investment. That's one of the points which is required. But of course, what is required is hand-holding. Many of the academic institutions and R&D institutions working in silos on the R&D development. Industry, on the other hand, also doing R&D development on their own, but they have limited resources. They also have to look into the production, productivity, marketing, and many things. So if industry R&D or industry as a whole join hand with academia or R&D institutions and work together, hand in hand, build a confidence, then of course there will be more investment, more requirement, and this will go in a loop or in a cycle. That is what happened everywhere in the world or in developed country. That is the model they taken forward. So flow of ideas can come from both from industry as well as from R&D institutions and academia. Adopting new technology, willing to change. These are the things that we try to see. We will see that it happens, that there will be a change, looking for a change, adopting to the change, adopting to the new technology, which is not happening in India. And we would like to see that the technologies are developed in India. And that is possible when industry brings a problem and bring it to the academic institutions or R&D institutions and work together. Not that they will be a funding agency. their engineer, their scientist, our engineer, our scientist will work together in hand, and then only this growth or the hand holding, through a hand holding, there will be a confidence building, and we will of course satisfy the requirement of the industry. With this preliminary viewpoint, I would take this forward, but I would like to show you AV. Can you have the AV, please?
Industry-academia collaboration has always been a point of discussion across the globe to enable both industry and academia to flourish in parallel. With the growing competitiveness across the industry sectors and challenges in managing growth and profit margins, today's industries are looking for industry-ready skilled professionals directly from the academia. The manufacturing sector contributes 18% to the GDP, and India has the 5th largest manufacturing hub in the world. As per the quarterly employment survey report of the Union Ministry of Labour and Employment, the manufacturing sector accounted for nearly 39% of all the employment generated in the selected 9 sectors. Over the years, India is steadily creating its leadership position in areas such as apparel, accessories, pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, and automobile, to name a few. As per the analyst reports, by 2030, many of the current jobs will become redundant, while new job roles will be created due to AI and automations. In today's scenario, industries alone cannot handle these challenges and opportunities. Hence, it has become increasingly important to shift the conversation from industry-academia collaboration to augmenting industries-institute linkage in the manufacturing sector. With investments growing in the country and the state of Odisha playing a pivotal role, it is important that the state produces a talent fuel line to sustain its leadership position that will play a significant role in the social and economic development of the country. Skill Development and Technical Education Department and Odisha Skill Development Authority is attempting to explore possible answers to some of the opportunities that lie ahead for the industry and academia. Let us brainstorm with the best minds in the country who are here in the Make in Odisha conclave to deliberate and explore the road ahead of us.
We will now start the deliberation. So I would first start with Mr. Kuruvilla. Can you make your point?
Thank you, Professor Basu. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and pleasure for having me on the panel. It's an absolute privilege, and thank you for setting the context. So, as I was introduced, I come from ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India. It's a joint venture between two of the largest steel makers of the world, ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel. So, and we are growing in India. AMNS is growing in India. So just from my side, if I have to set a little bit of a context to the academia industry partnership and what are the different levels of partnership that are possible and how this will accelerate industry and academia together, addressing some of the most important challenges that we are facing as country, as community, for instance, climate change. So let's say India, as you said, is one of the fastest growing large economies in the world. Within India, Odisha, as you see today, is already a mineral hub owing to 35% of mineral resources that it has. 35% of the mineral resources of India is in Odisha. So we are already sitting on a huge opportunity to grow a huge opportunity to innovate. But this opportunity, in order to really leverage this opportunity, we have to invest in our people. And the industry of the future is going to be something that focuses on sustainability, that focuses on clean energy, and that focuses on innovation. These are the practices that Industry 4.0 will focus on. Why? Because this is what the technologically savvy, climate conscious world is looking at for the future. So in that context, it is extremely imperative that two of the key stakeholders, industry and academic institutes, partner as efficiently as possible. So the first level of partnership is something that I think we have seen more often than not, which is co-creation of curriculum. So that accelerates adoption of technology, that helps reduce cost and improves efficiency, thereby improving industrialization. But we don't have to stop there. So the second level of industry-academy partnership can come through centers of excellence. So like we have all heard about work from home, as we see right now, we can say that, like we say, work from anywhere. In this age, it's actually learn from anywhere, from anyone, and at any age. So the education and learning has taken has seen a paradigm shift, and now it is actually talking about lifelong learning. And it is in this context that industry and academia should partner together to create centers of excellence that will further accelerate creation of skills in the future workforce that Industry 4.0 requires. But we don't really have to stop there. And I think the biggest opportunity, as Professor Basu mentioned, is in the field of research and development. So collaboration in the field of research and development is something that really needs to be explored further and with a severe sense of urgency. So companies are actually investing, given the importance of climate change, sustainability, green energy, on high quality research. And we also see that academy would like to make research socially relevant. I mean, historically or even now, you would see that academy focuses or is really good in basic fundamental research. And industry is good when it comes to applied research. But there is a huge opportunity to really amalgamate these seemingly these complementary approaches that we have between industry and academia. So, for example, so if you have to talk about examples of this collaboration, so during COVID, Oxford University and AstraZeneca collaborated in order to create Covaxin that really saved millions of lives and is a wonderful example of innovation. Incidentally, our executive chairman, Mr. Lakshmi Mittal, partly funded this innovation. So that's a wonderful example how innovation, how collaboration between industry and academy can create innovation and sustainability in the industry for us, for all of us. We also see that market competitiveness will drive innovation, and it will drive creativity in the society and in the communities at large. Like we do see that in order to solve some of these larger problems, we go and invest in startups because and one of such example in ArcelorMittal is X-Carb Acceleration Fund. So decarbonization is a very important goal for us within the steel industry and specifically for ArcelorMittal as a group. which has taken a target of reducing our carbon footprint by 25% by 2030. So these are platforms which is an opportunity for academia to participate, and these will really drive creating solutions for future. Yeah? The other example is when it comes to investment, companies are looking at investing in areas beyond their mainstream. Like for instance, ArcelorMittal as a steel company, we are investing in renewable energy in India that will help ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel reduce the carbon emissions by 1.5 million tons annually once that is established in 2 years' time. So, I mean, these are some of the examples that will really help us accelerate progress on all the issues that we are speaking about. So, Professor Basu, I completely agree. It's really the focus on R&D. When I speak specifically of steel, India is the second largest producer of steel in the world. We have India as a country has taken a target of moving to producing 300 million tons by 2030, and industry and academia, which are training the minds of the future and skilling the hands of the future, have all the more responsibility and reason to collaborate on every possible way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Praveen Kurwali, for elaborating many aspects. I would now go to Mr. Shankar Venugopal to give his deliberations, talk about the industry-academy interactions and taking R&D forward.
Thank you, Dr. Basu. I'm from Mahindra & Mahindra, based at the Mahindra Research Valley in Chennai. So I'm very happy to be part of this very important discussion that we are having today. Because what we try to do at Mahindra is we aim to bring sustainable technologies, both in mobility and also agricultural domains. So I'm from the automotive and farm sector. So when I look at the importance of innovation and collaboration in order to bring sustainable products very quickly to the market, I find that the discussion in this particular platform is very, very critical. You'll all be aware that we have moving into electric mobility in a very quick manner. And it's very important for us to build world-class electric vehicles right here in India. That is possible only if the industry and academia come together and collaborate. Because Mahindra, we have announced the launch of 5 new vehicles over the next 3 years. And for any company to do this, we need to have very strong academic partners for collaboration. So industry is typically focused on applied research, building products. The fundamental research part of it typically comes through the collaboration with academia. When we do this, it's very important to have a very good alignment, because the academia tends to work on certain kind of problems, while the industry tends to work on a very different set of problems. How do we bring these two worlds together so that we can all work hand in hand and build technologies that can directly go into products and benefit the customers? We tried 2 things at Mahindra to bridge this gap, and that's what I want to share today in this platform. One was to bring the academician to the industry through sabbaticals. These are not very long ones. These are micro and nano sabbaticals, which can vary anywhere between a few weeks to a few months. This makes it very, very easy for the academic expert to get a feel for what kind of problems industry is interested in solving. We give them a very immersive experience for a few weeks so that they work as part of our teams and get to understand what kind of problems are relevant to the industry. With this, they are able to go back and write joint research proposals involving both the academic expert and the industry expert, which are typically catering to industry-relevant problems. This has paid good dividends, so I would love to share this idea with you all so that it's very easy to align the interest of the academic expert and the industry expert through this kind of small sabbaticals. The second idea, which really helped us in a big way, is creating technology roadmaps. Because we are talking about not just a small piece of research, but really building a technology in a very meaningful and a very oriented way over the years so that we can build world-class products from India. For it, it's very important to have a clear technology roadmap so that the government can use the roadmap to make sure that the proposals, the research proposals, which are aligned to the roadmap, get funded. So that way, today there is a lot of funding. There is a lot of money that the government spends on funding research. But for it all to add up to something impactful, it's very important to have a roadmap and make sure that the proposals are all aligned to the roadmap. So we did this for electric vehicles. For lightweighting the electric vehicles, we created a 20-year roadmap which aims at significant weight reduction. By 2030, we want to reduce the weight by 30%. This no industry can do it alone. It's very important for the industry, the academia, the CSIR, the government labs, and the startups, for all of them to come together to pursue such ambitious goals. The same thing we are doing for the batteries for the EV. It's very appropriate that Dr. Basu, who heads the minerals and materials technology, is moderating this discussion. Because when you talk about electric vehicles, minerals and metals and materials are going to be the key enablers. We need lithium for the batteries, cobalt for the batteries, the rare earths for the magnets. These are going to be the key differentiators which will place India right at the cutting edge and make our products cater to the needs of global markets, not just India. Just a sample for what the academia collaboration can do. I came in here one day early and I spent the whole day visiting the KAIT, the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology yesterday. The kind of work that I see there, I got to interact with researchers and young students across multiple departments. The kind of cutting edge work that I saw there yesterday gives me the confidence that this state can play a very key role in setting an example of how industry and academia collaboration should be and how it can really enable innovative technologies that go into global products. So I'm very, very confident that this will happen right here in this state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Venugopal. Now I go to the third panelist, Mr. Sanjeev Sharma from SMS Group.
Thank you, Professor Basu. I think the topic is very, very relevant in today's situation, that how do the industry and academia collaborate. So if we take our own example, every day mobile technology is changing. Every day there are certain updates, and all of us has to rely to, on this mobile technology now to do banking, e-commerce, and upgrade our skills also. So if you see, right now there is a wide gap between industry and academia, where we see that the skills which the new graduates or ITIs or diplomas they are bringing to us, they are not so relevant, and again we have to start training them. COVID has taught us so many things, that how important is to upgrade the skills. I myself have seen that many of the teachers who never used technology, they became so well in using the technology, and they were making presentations in the mobile itself. So it's not a question that how do we improve academia industry. Of course, that we have to do, but also to upgrade ourselves in the upcoming technologies. So as we see that, the target set up by the government to achieve 300 million tons by 2030 and 500 billion tons by 2047. So all of us has to skill ourselves and to skill the academia also to achieve these targets. We also saw that we are a German-driven company, SMS Group. We are in India from more than 30 years. We have our manufacturing facilities in Khurda and Mancheshwar plant here. So we are also collaborating with ITIs, diplomas, institutes, and graduate engineers also to see that how they can be upskilled during the education itself. In fact, with our CSR partners, we have framed a kind of curriculum for them, where their soft skill and the technical skills in terms of the various softwares we are using in the industry, they can be upskilled. And when they are joining us, or any industry I would say, so then they are ready to be, put on the job, and they can start their job from day one. which is very much required. Otherwise, we have seen that they are good in their technical, theoretical things, I would say, but not the practical areas which industry requires now. We are also setting up a world-class welding training center with one of the ITIs in Odisha, which will help many of the young professionals to achieve those welding skills. We have seen in the market that in our manufacturing world, welding is the area where you need very, very high skills because we, in Khurda, we are producing very critical equipment which is required for the steel industry. And without a right training, it's a lot of wastage of the manpower, a lot of wastage of the material. So we are setting up a very world-class, most modern welding training center. And I would like to thank Government of Odisha for this, that they are giving us this opportunity. Also to thank Government of Odisha for inviting us for this Odisha Conclave 22. This gives us an opportunity that what you are offering to us as an industry, plus also helps us to build up more networking which can further increase the business avenues in today's world. So going forward, I think we will be very much focused on collaborating with the academia world, and that's the need of the hour. Without that, it is very, very difficult to survive in the future market. And upskilling is the need of the hour, which anyway we have to do. And I can assure you that we are on the right path to achieve those targets then. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev Sharma. I have collected some feedback from the audience, and I would now like the panelists to talk about two things. Of course, it's not their forte, but they have their own thinking process, which could be sort of an extempo, is that the government has come up with new education or National Education Policy 2020 NEP, where there is a structural change in the education system, which is linked to R&D as well. There was a mention of high-end R&D. I mean, Industry 4.0 or additive manufacturing and all these things that Mr. Praveen was talking about was mentioned, and there are many cyber security, many things. I'm not listing them. So the skilling of the people for, of course, for the production is different. Here we are talking about R&D. So one aspect is the NEP 2020 and the R&D, industrial R&D, how to engage through NEP 2020, the changes that is coming in. And other one is skilling. When we expand, we have expansion or growth, we required skilled manpower in a right area or right direction. So on these two topics, anybody would like to take this up, I would be very happy. So if you have understood, what I talked about is education, new education or national education policy, because there is and of course skilling. In these two aspects, from the industry side, if you would like to say something.
So if you really think about how universities can create industry-ready students so that bridge the skill gap, it's very interesting that the academic experts stay in academia, they rarely move to industry, and the industry experts stay in industry, they rarely move to academia. There could be few exceptions. But there is one interest group which is always moving from academia to industry, and that is the students. Year after year, there's a whole lot of students who always move from the academia to the industry. How can we leverage them to basically bridge the gap? Because they are very keen to work on the most challenging problems in the best possible industry. So they'll be more than eager to do the right things that will bridge this gap. What I realize is, when I closely interact with students and the faculties, one thing I realized is, even with the best teachers and the best curriculum, only 25% of the learning can happen in a classroom. There is another 75%, which is what is missing today. that 75%, another 25% can come from the hackathons that we saw happen today, where there is an accelerated learning and also students get to work with students from other domains. Because, for example, electric vehicle need mechanical, electrical, electronics, computer science, all branches coming together. So hackathons are one big way to give practical skills to students. The third 25% can come when they come to the industry and do summer internships. And the fourth 25% comes from all the MOOCs like our NPTEL, Swayam, Coursera, Udemy. So many things are there with the state of the art, the best courses taught by practitioners themselves. So I think if we tap all these four sources, then we'll be able to create industry-ready students and bridge the gap that exists today. That's my thought. Sure.
Thank you. If I can just add to that, thank you, Mr. Venugopal. I mean, it's completely aligned to what you said. Actually, Professor Basu, when I see these 2 points, I think they are completely linked. Why? Because the new national education policy is structured around making vocational training inherent to the education of the student, and hence making them industry ready or future ready. So I think we just need to reflect as industry, as academic institutions, what are the things that we could do. For example, the new education policy, national education policy, talks about multiple entry and multiple exit. I mean, you could exit after 2 years, have vocational education, get industry exposure, come back, and then continue as studies. So I think these are the models, systems that we could probably look at globally, try and adopt them, and make the partnership, the linkages, as you said, much more stronger, which will finally translate into higher innovation, better creativity, and finally benefiting industry and the society at large.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Sharma.
so I think if we see the national education policy which has been brought up now, what we saw earlier is that people are studying, then again they are going for the higher studies, and there is no industry exposure to them. So based on the credit systems, what has been brought up now, and as pointed out by Praveen also, that multiple exits, they can have the exposure of the industry, then go for education, which we also see in the Western world, that there is always exchange of industry and academia professors also. So the professors, they go to also industry to see that what is required to be changed in the curriculum. And based on that, when they are coming back to the institutions, they are doing those changes and they are making the young talent future ready. So I think this is a very good concept which has been brought out and probably help our younger generation to get exposure and then upskill their skills also in terms of various requirements which are required in future then. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. So we will conclude it now. I think we all talked about that there are different sectors that we need to work on. It was mentioned about the Industry 4.0, the startups, and through which industry can also come in to join with education institutions or R&D institution to work forward. It was also talked about the training or skilling is important, like one mentioned about the hackathon, and through which this is happening, and new or national education policy through which you have a multiple exit entry and different areas that you need to have the skill in multiple sets, and of course in your area of expertise or interest that you have, and the overall the industry requirement is what we need to remember, and we need to, of course, all these education institute doing high-end R&D or higher education institutes as well as the R&D institutions all need to work together to have a more investment in R&D and work with the industry. Not that we work in silos, but we work industry towards having one objective to have a better process, better product, and better life for citizen of India. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We would like to take few questions from the audience. I request our volunteers, please pass on the mic if anybody is interested to ask any questions to our panelists. Okay, with this, we are ending the session and I am requesting organizer team to give mementos to our esteemed guests. I request everyone to give a huge round of applause for all our guests. I request our panelists along with our moderator sir to pose for a photograph. Thank you, sir. And we have our lunch arrangement in Swasti Premium. So after the sessions all are over, we will go for lunch. And it's time to begin with our second session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So let's explore such collaboration in yet another sector that touches every life in this world. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the healthcare sector. COVID-19 pandemic has further made the life of humans complex. May I now please call upon the panelist and the moderator of the session, Augmenting Industry Institute Linkage in Healthcare, to the dais. So I request everyone, please clap your hands and welcome our esteemed panelists and moderator. Our panelists for this session are Shri Jajit Das, Director Strategy Ashwini Group, Dr. Vishnu Panigrahi, Group Head Medical Strategy and Operations, Fortis Healthcare Limited, and the moderator for the session, Dr. Sanghamitra Pati, Director, Regional Medical Research Center, Bhubaneswar. I request all our panelists along with our moderator to come to the stage, and I request everyone, please welcome them with a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, it's a privilege and honor to be here and to be moderating two brilliant panelists who have proved themselves in their own sector. And our time, just now we came to know that our time has been slashed by 5 minutes. So we will start quickly with the discussion. So not taking much time, I would request to play the AV. Already the setting has been made, the importance of healthcare in the current post-COVID pandemic scenario. But I would request if we can have the AV to enrich the context. Can we play the AV?
Healthcare is one of the fastest and evergreen sector, playing a significant role in the life of Homo sapiens. With rapid urbanization and sedentary lifestyle, the health complications has grown significantly over the years, especially the challenges posed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, Indian healthcare sector encompasses 18% of total outpatient care and 44% of total inpatient care that employs a total of 4.7 million professionals and is growing exponentially. Further, it is expected to reach more than $372 billion driven by rising income, better health awareness, lifestyle diseases, and increasing access to insurance. The need for sophisticated healthcare, continuous R&D, and introduction of digital technology have disrupted the sector in a significant manner. As per the Economic Survey of 2022, India's public expenditure on healthcare stood at 2.1% of GDP in 2021-22 against 1.8% 2021. Hence, to meet the increasing demand from both healthcare providers, payers, and industries, abundant opportunities lie ahead. Several medical councils and health authorities are now progressively focusing on indigenous developments through international standard linkages and collaborative research projects employed by industry and academia to realize quality in patient care, new medical procedures for management and advanced surgeries. Hence, it is time for academia to work hand in hand with the industry, thereby shifting the focus to augmenting industry's institute linkage in the healthcare sector. In this plenary session at Make in Odisha Conclave, Skill Development and Technical Education Department, in collaboration with experts from industry, academia, policy influencers, and thought leaders, will make an attempt to craft a strategy for future.
Thank you for setting the story. So all of us are well aware about the importance of healthcare and specifically quality healthcare during the COVID-19 pandemic. And what each one of us very acutely felt is the need for a competent healthcare, be it a technician, be it a professional, be it a critical care specialist. And when we look at not only the sustainable development goal, but also when we look at the goal of National Health Mission, the importance of quality healthcare and what are the dimensions of quality healthcare, the healthcare that is accessible, which means we have to more rely on technology and point of care delivery, which is affordable so that we can reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure, which already the National Economic Survey has shown. And third, very importantly, is it has to be timely. When we need it, the healthcare, it should be available, accessible, affordable, and fulfill the patient's needs. And to deliver this quality healthcare, there are 4 Ds. First, what is the describing the situation or the problem? Then another D is discover the solution, be it laser, be it MRI. So discovering the solution and then developing it And what the most important, where we require the support of all is delivering the services or delivering the technology. And all through these 4Ds, we require science and industry as a partner. So I would start with questions with Dr. Vishnu Panigrahi. All of us, so many eminent institutes, be it science, be it technology, be it research institutes, have a science and a talent hub in their own premises. And each one, during COVID pandemic, I have encountered many young students, many young researchers were describing their discoveries, their talents, or their ideas. So how do we translate these ideas or these technologies into healthcare delivery? I mean, which has been an output of research. How do we translate into practice or into healthcare delivery, especially from the industry perspective? What should be the, I would say, the nuts and bolts?
Thank you, Dr. Pati. And first, I would like to thank the Odisha Skill Development Department for inviting me, the government of Odisha, and to the place where I spent my childhood here. I grew up here. So I would like to just take a few moments to say that we are celebrating 75 years of independence. When we got independence, our life expectancy was in the early 40s. Now we're nearly touching 70. There's been a paradigm shift in our disease prevalence. It's from the non-communicable, we are now into, from the communicable, we are now into the non-communicable, which is more than 60%, not 50%, more than 60%. And we are too much focused on growing healthcare, but I want to bring up a very fundamental point on the table here, is that who's the most important person when you talk about healthcare? It is the patient. He's the customer, he's the consumer. But are we giving him the proper care, the value that is desired? For that, are we looking at the quality? Are we looking at outcomes? These are two fundamental things that need to be addressed, and this is where technology comes into play. For example, if you look at, we keep looking at our diabetes population increasing. Are we capturing the data of the diabetes person on a longitudinal level? It is more episodic. I'm a diabetic, I come to the endocrinologist, he gives me some medicines, bye-bye. But there's a lot of spillover effects that a diabetes patient has about his kidneys, about his eyes, whether his vessels are okay, he may land up with an amputation down the line. So if all these, and cardiovascular diseases, this is another thing that diabetes patients do have it. So if we are able to take care of the diabetes progression, the diabetes, keep control of that, see that the medications are properly taken care, the lifestyle is taken care, and technology comes into play. All these now, when you test your sugar level, they have Bluetooth technology. They can go to your cardiologist, your diabetic endocrinologist. If you have in the primary centers, for example, now something which we have done very well is if you look at our maternal mortality rates have come down. I give credit to our ASHA workers at the ground level in the small towns, small villages. A lot of states have started doing it. I'm not aware of what's the state here, of giving the ASHA workers the tablet. They pick up data of whether it's the diabetic patients, hypertensive patients, the medications, what is the pressures, what are the sugars, all of the female populations, right from during the antenatal. So this is another way of enabling technology. The other thing that has come up recently is if you look at a lot of your cardiovascular illnesses that happen, all of us would have had someone in a family having a heart attack, but picking them early, taking them to the right hospital for care is very important. So you have these ECGs now, which will pick up ST segment MIs, they will go to whichever central station you have, and you can guide the patient so that the patient comes within that 90 minutes so that the heart muscle is saved. Stroke is increasing by the day. And as we are speaking, Madam, if you are aware that Dr. Padma, Professor Padma, the neurology professor in All Institute, she has piloted it and it is now rolled out across Himachal Pradesh on stroke care. So she's using technology and everyone has a mobile phone now. And internet, even if internet facilities are not available, to sort of reach out to the patient, reach out to the primary physician there and take their inputs and guide them on how do you take care of the stroke patients. So these are the things that I think so we need to enhance technology. Coming back to on the quality part, all outcomes must be tracked because that is something fundamental. The world is changing, that what is the value that we can give. And now if you look at it, we are moving from acute care to chronic care. That is where we have to take care, and a lot of care has to happen outside the hospital. So going forward, hospitals will become acute care places. So you have to reach out to the homes. So how do you go about that? So that is where technology comes into play, whether it is through the mobile phones, whether it's through the internet. So these are things that you reach out. I'm giving you a small example. Now, a lot of hospitals, they started doing your Indian Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Most of the OPD consults are booked online. So what is the advantage? They know that this is they got the date on the such and such date, such and such time. So they just come before that. So it prevents hassles for them to sort of come and wait in a line and wait for hours together to go to the OPD and see the doctor. So this is how technology comes in. Your OPD consults, you reach on time. The moment you reach there, your investigations can immediately be guided there to the respective areas. And if you look at now the ABHA that is come in, the Ayushman Bharat digital account that is there, that is obviously it's optional. Patients are it's up to them to allow privileges to access it. But you can keep all the reports there. So you can look at it chronologically. And ma'am is you are a renowned microbiologist, for example. AMR, antimicrobial resistance, is a global nightmare. WHO speaks about it. When President Barack Obama speaks about it, when James Cameron, the former Prime Minister of UK, came, he spoke about it in the Bangalore conclave. But what is the reason? We are using antibiotics irrationally and not where indicated. And even for small surgeries, you don't have to give antibiotics for 7 days, 8 days. So what I would like to put out, my take-home message will be, for example, because she's the ICMR director here, irrespective of the public sector, private sector, all the cultures, the sensitivity, the antibiogram should be checked, and geographically, the antibiogram will give you the sensitivity pattern for those drugs. So that messaging has to go out, and this is again technology enabled to the doctors in that geography, so the prescription practices are aligned with the antibiogram so that the right antibiotics are given. Instead of giving antibiotics which are already resistant, so we are creating more and more resistance. Thank you.
Thank you. In this context, I would just like to appraise all the esteemed audience and you that very recently ICMR has released antibiotic guidelines, and wherein they have prescribed that not to use antibiotic if you have low-grade fever, which is, I would say, a paradigm shift. I mean, indiscriminate use of antibiotics must be discouraged, and the physicians are appealed to use their clinical acumen rather than simply going ahead with antibiotics. So thanks for that. And taking forward, I agree with you that for quality healthcare, we need technology, particularly digital technology, and we need skilled manpower. So I would like to know from Dr. Das, because you have come from all the way from US, and it's a very different field for you, what I understand, switching to healthcare technology or healthcare sector. So my question would be, the audience would like to know, so how do you view the skilling versus upskilling? Because in COVID pandemic, we saw that many technicians, many physicians were trained with different set of skills. So in your view, what is skilling and what is upskilling when it comes to healthcare delivery? And if we look at Odisha now, what are the skill needs of our healthcare workforce?
Thank you, Dr. Pati. Thank you to the organizers for giving us a chance, and this is a great privilege to be seated in front of you and speak about such an important topic. You asked a wonderful question. Let's talk about skill in healthcare. Of all the professions and industries I can think of, I think healthcare is at the top when it comes to the need for high quality and skilled resources. A little welding goes wrong, it's easier to fix. I think here we're dealing with human lives. It's understood that this is a very important profession, very important line. We saw a lot of gaps or shortages in our skill and talent and the availability of these during the COVID pandemic. Right? Critical care was in short supply, etc. So if I think about healthcare and to give credit where credit's due, I think the Skill Development Authority in Odisha is doing a wonderful job. I've looked at the profiles that they're encouraging in terms of skill development, starting from general bedside duty assistant to dialysis technicians to cardiac technicians. These are all needed. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say we need even more, and we need to upskill those we have. My view of the skill needs in healthcare is that you can think of it as a hierarchy of skills, let's say. At the top, at the very top, you have exceptional doctors and surgeons, healthcare technocrats. They also work with skills. In the middle, you have maybe extremely trained technicians. And then there's a larger swath of let's say, assistants and nurses and bedside technicians, etc. So today, I see the focus is more on the lower end of the spectrum, and justifiably so, because that's the need of the hour in this state. But as we think about upskilling, I would love for us to, and for, it's a skill development, to think about moving up that tier. I have one example in mind. In Odisha, we created the Agriculture University in 1962. We created, that was OUAT, we created BPUT in 2002. And we are yet to really start the medical university. And for an industry that's so important, for a line of work that's so important, I think, and that's where I really have a point to make, that this has to be treated with the utmost of urgency. To come back to the point earlier, you can still do agriculture without having gone to OUAT, but you just cannot create good medical professionals, good technicians, good doctors without the highest quality of rigorous training. So this has to be taken up with an urgency that we haven't seen before. That is all I would humbly request. I feel excited about the focus on this space, on healthcare, on skill development. I wish we could expand it even quicker to other areas. Case in point, the profile of our populace is changing. We have a very young population, but the fact is, and I'll say this in Odia, आजकल घरे घरे, especially पिलाने पाठ पढ़ी कि बाहर पढ़ी चंती. In urban Odisha, it's a given that there are a lot of older population, geriatric folks. So geriatric care is going to become a big one, and justifiably we've got good, healthcare training from OSDA in that space. But what about cancers, for example? Oral cancers, ENT cancers, rampant. We need the best of chemo technicians. So that's some area to look at. So there's a lot of spaces that we could look at. And finally, I would probably want to say there are some really big macro factors at play, really big. Sir talked about, technology trends. The three biggest trends that I feel are going to disrupt healthcare especially, one is AI, the second one is robotics, and the third one, you talked a lot about that, which is data. And maybe there's a big interplay between the three of them, without doubt. But AI is already becoming a big, a decision support system for radiologists. So you're going to have a situation where a doctor sitting in the US is getting clinical support from an AI-driven product, but that's also got a human interface. And guess where that human interface could be? Just like we've seen Infosys and TCS and Wipros of the world create an outsourcing model, there's enormous opportunity if we have the right skill and upskilling available to create an Infosys of healthcare. And why shouldn't that tomorrow be based out of Bhubaneswar? Why shouldn't we have 100 trained professionals sitting out of Bhubaneswar training or giving, human interface layer and decision support to doctors around the world? So there's a lot to be done. I think part of that depends on what price we put on our wicket, to use a critical, cricketing analogy. If our vision is to play at that level, then we need to be training more, faster, with greater urgency.
Yes, I think that's a very interesting point what you have raised. So I just, because you both are from, I'm from the other side of the table, like we produce, what I say, not exactly solutions, but ideas for solution. And whatever we do in our lab or in our own settings is that small scale ideas. So when we look at industry for its adoption, so since you belong to from that sector where you are going to be the end users for patients, of course, the final end user is always the patient. It has to be patient-centric. But from industry side of view, I am particularly curious to know what exactly you look for when someone comes to you with some new technology or new solutions. Because then it helps the researchers or the developers to align their product in that way. So what exactly you would like to see when someone comes with a new technology or new innovation? Dr. Panigrai.
In fact, Government of India has now started looking at health technology assessments also. So not that every technology is useful. So when you have to, any technology that is being shown to you or sort of pitched to you, it may be that the manufacturer wants to market. You should look how does it benefit the patient and what is its clinical importance. So keeping that in mind, that evaluation should happen. I think so sometimes we get carried away by just going for costly technology. But there are merits in it. I'm just giving example. We're talking about the robotic surgery that's happening. It's a costly piece of equipment. But if you look at when the cancer prostates are operated in the conventional way, the length of stay is high in the conventional. In the robotic, they go off, they are discharged the second day or maximum third day. Blood usage is very minimal in robotic. They consume 3, 4, 5, 6 units of blood in the conventional surgeries. The most important and distressing thing for the patient is incontinence. In the conventional thing, they have incontinence for not days together, for months together. Acha. Then on the erectile dysfunction that is there because of the nerves get. So these are the invisible things that you can't sort of capture by rupees and cents. So that is the quality that the patient gets of giving better quality to the patient. So, so this is why we should look at that the technology assessment that puts in, that which are the technologies which will benefit the patient. Now, we are, Odisha is still an agrarian society, but slowly we are becoming much more urban. But we have primary health centers and district hospitals and medical colleges. And I think so this is something that we are working in silos. Teleconsults are happening. But are we sort of seamlessly connecting them from the primary health center to the district hospitals to the medical colleges? I'll just give you an example, ma'am. In PGI has done a pilot now. They have now, PGI Chandigarh, lot of the primary health centers, secondary health centers, they are tied up with PGI and they have scheduled slots. So the patients come into the primary and secondary centers, they are able to connect with the consultant of their choice. And so this is how, instead of the patient traveling from a village in Haryana, they are able to consult the best doctors. And PGI aims, they have the best doctors not in the country, but in the world also. So this is the advantage that technology has to happen. I think so Odisha, I think so I'll put it this way. Odisha, the technology brain power is there. We need to sort of tie the loose ends. The dots have to be connected. I think so. This is my request to the skill development gurus who are here. Please, we need to connect the dots. So we have the bandwidth to do it, but the dots have to be connected. So we sort of leverage this for benefit of the people, the patients there. And that is the only way that we can sort of take it forward. And because why I'm saying this is that chronic diseases are increasing, diabetes, hypertension, and there's another segment that is there, which we have to be very important is the aging population. It is slowly increasing. And we are no more a joint family, we are a nuclear family. So having the wearables are there now to enable them. When they wear that, if they fall down, immediately it is, you can connect with your relatives, it connect with the central station also. So these are important things that are there. So this is what I'm saying, the technology needs to be connected, and I think so Odisha is in a very nice inflection point to take it forward.
Yes, I also, I mean, I do agree with you. In fact, anyone who is working for research, because I come from that fraternity, we usually try on 4 products. One is whether we can have a newer and more accurate diagnostics, or is it more precise drugs or better drugs, or it is something point of care devices. I mean, this the 3D, and the fourth D, which is very, very nowadays coming up, is from big data or from data to decision making, wherein it has become somewhat, I feel, a fascination or an obsession with many young researchers, that how they can use AI-based tools for decision making, or for drug discovery, or for diagnostics. So since Dr. Das, I would like to know, how do you see the potential of AI or artificial intelligence in this healthcare technology, or in developing innovations?
Yeah, so, picking up on what we were talking about, the use of AI, let's say, there was the hypothetical where I talked about, you could have an Infosys of the future, where, you are augmenting AI and helping decision support. There's a human interface layer. There's many other things. Let's take a non-healthcare use case. For example, there's a great need for non-healthcare talent in healthcare. We need a case in point for BSKY, for our group of hospitals. The biggest bottleneck is actually not even healthcare related. The biggest bottleneck is good quality billing and clerical work, because that's a big part of closing the loop. Similarly, marketing, for example, is another area where there's a big shortfall of talent and good. So for us to really deliver world-class healthcare, harnessing all that technology has to offer, we have to take a holistic picture. AI really works with 2 kinds of data, and one is structured information, the other is unstructured. And today, where we've reached in terms of AI maturity, we are very good with structured data. What digital marketing, for example, allows you to do is handle structured data very powerfully. And so that helps you tap into potential behaviors, or that helps you tap into potential risks that might be emerging. Sir was just talking about, knowing in advance something that might occur to someone. So a lot of predictive use case emerge. That could be used in a smart way with marketing. But for that, we need the right kind of talent who can be, it's about being ambidextrous. You have to be good with healthcare understanding and also these associated fields like marketing, etc. Let's look at some of the more fundamental, radiology is a space where this is very practical because it's structured data, it's image processing. It's easier because AI needs a lot of training data, but CT scans have been around since 1972. MRI has been around since 1977. You got 50 years of information to train your AI algorithms on. So these are spaces where it's more exciting. I want to touch upon something else that Sir talked about, which is, you've got the beginnings of a UPI moment in healthcare. UPI has enabled India to become a global fintech leader. Once we achieve something similar with healthcare, which is, an electronic health record identified with an individual, that is when the power of AI is going to get unleashed, because we are going to be able to do all the, calculations and run all the algorithms to identify what might be the right sort of intervention for someone and be able to reach that person in that moment.
Madam, can I say something on this? In fact,
Please.
Since the skill development part is there, we need to get the electronic health records, whether the digital mission that the government of India is looking at it, because health being a state subject, because this is where the crunch line is, because this will capture all the disease prevalence, and the health economics comes into play. The state can sort of reallocate resources depending on the different disease patterns in the different areas, instead of saying that every district will have the same medical program, same infrastructure. So this is something that data will be able to sort of help us. So my request is that we need to have this in place. Each and every patient should have the records captured.
That is, which is much felt need, having your personalized digital health records or electronic patient record. In fact, the ABHA is going to sort out that problem to some extent. And here, every national health mission does have HMIS, Health Management Information System, but it does not capture at an individual or patient level. And for when it comes personalized medicine or precision medicine, we require in toto the history and for example, a person might be allergic to some drug, whether that drug should be given during critical care or not. So electronic patient records, I would also join with you to urge the skill development corporation to think in this light, because this is, we also as a researcher feel it's acute need, the need for having your own health records. Now, moving forward, also the National Digital Health Mission is encouraging proposals or projects which are configured around digital technology for patient health improvement. So, I wanted to kind of a free questioning from Dr. Das that, or both of you, is that when it comes to innovation, or you want, can you just have 3 to 4, I would say, because there are so many priorities, but we have to prioritize among priorities. So in industry, if we ask you, what is your 1, 2, 3 research question which you want to be, which would be answering your technology needs or your solution needs? So what top 3 would be, so that all the young entrepreneurs and all the young technologists can take forward their research in that direction?
I'll come back to the value-based healthcare here. Is that the patient's health, whenever patient is being treated at hospital or at home also, their records must be captured and their outcomes must be, because from that data comes out on the treatment that you have given, how they are behaving, what is the final outcome. Because unless the outcomes are captured, we will not know the treatment that we imparted to that patient was effective or not. So this is something that we need to look at. And the other thing that we should be looking at is the functional status of a patient after the patient has a procedure or surgery. And this again, we have, because your through the mobile phone questionnaire or SMS or internet, all these things can be captured. So I'm saying, just for example, someone has a knee replacement, doing 100 joints a year or a month is not the end. Are all those 100 patients able to walk properly, do the normal activities which we were doing earlier? A patient who's had a stent put in for his coronary artery disease, is he able to go back to normal life? So all these things are important. So I think this is where the data will come. So unless you capture the data, you will not be able to sort of look at it, whether the treatment has been okay, we continue with that. So basic thing comes from that. And again, I come back to the quality that's there. The hospital stay, the mortality rates, so depending on the procedure. So these things will give us an idea of which are the types of surgeries which are better than others. I'll just give a small example. Now peptic ulcer is not very common, but earlier there were 2 schools of, the American school were doing a partial gastrectomy. The British school were doing a vagotomy GJ. In the cohort of patients who had a vagotomy GJ, there were high incidence of cancer stomach. This came out from the data that, because when they started comparing, so what I'm trying to go to ma'am is that unless we have our data, we will not be able to do the research to say that this is a better form of treatment.
Dr. Das, would you like to add what Dr. Panigrahi has already mentioned? It is the importance of capturing data in the granular format, and which has to be generated from the patient and collated at the industry level. And any
absolutely. Healthcare is extremely predicated on proof, and proof has to be objective, and data is the way to go. Not simply because we'll have AI running on it, but because for us, as he said, to know if something's working or not, data in the long run, that longitudinal information is the best way. And which is why when we have something like this happen, which is a proper health record, that's really when we can harness you know. But I think at a bigger level, I think there are some other imperatives also for us to talk about in the context of the ages under which we are talking here. I think there is the aspect of growing the skill palette that's on offer from OSDA. I think there's a need to augment that with non-healthcare offerings. So the first one, for example, could be bring in chemo technicians, bring in blood transfusion technicians, bring in radiology trainings. That palette needs to grow. We need to augment that with a lot of non-healthcare, not directly healthcare, like good communications, finance for that matter, and also a lot of folks who understand technology fundamentally well, because once we have these data systems become the underpinnings to how we deliver healthcare, we need people who are well conversant with technology, who can interpret and analyze and be very comfortable in that data-rich and data-mined environment.
Yes, and coming to the skill
sorry
needs.
to interrupt. We have a constraint of time, so we have to finish.
So, yeah, I'm just about to wind up this, and should we ask the audience, because if they have
only one question from audience.
So we can take only one question if.
I request the audience who would like to ask the question. I request our volunteer to please help her.
While the mic is being given to him, I just try to ponder one thing, sir. Is that nursing?
Hello, I'm Dr. S.K. Das, the Deputy Principal of World Skills Center. So we are certainly planning to have a School of Health Sciences in the World Skills Center as a part of OSGA project. So currently we had considering two domains. One is operation and maintenance of medical equipments, and second is global level training for the health workers. So these are the two domains which we are considering right now for. Am I audible?
Please hold it close because it's not audible.
Okay. Am I audible? Yeah. I'm the Deputy Principal of World Skills Center. So basically, we are planning to have a School of Health Sciences as a part of OSDA initiative in World Skills Center, where we intend to impart skill training for the health sector. So currently, we considered two domains. One is operation and maintenance of medical equipment, and second is global level training for the health workers. Am I audible?
It's audible, but it's not clear actually. I mean, deciphering the sentences is getting, for me, it's getting very difficult. We're not able to follow it actually, the question.
Actually, my question is, we are going to open a skill center for the health workers. So there are two domains which we are considering now. One is the technicians for operation and maintenance of medical equipments. One. And second is a global level training for the health workers. So that is under consideration. Now my question is, what area else can we take up? One question, apart from these two. And second is, which should be taken priority from the requirement perspective of the industry?
In fact, I was just mentioning that healthcare is fundamental is the nurses and the technicians, mainly nurses. If you look at it, 70-75% of the touch point of a patient is with the nurses. So we have to have more nurses. There's an acute shortage, and that, as Chief Secretary was mentioning, that we need to keep on upskilling. So I don't know whether it is practical or not. If you expect someone from far off Koraput to come to a nursing school or college in Bhubaneswar or Berhampur, it will not be always possible. So just a suggestion is that in the respective districts, if you have attached the nursing training centers, technician training centers attached to the district hospital, they'll be near their home place. So that will be easier for us to pick them up. And now all these virtual modes are there. You can connect them to the main centers depending on how the authorities desire. I think so we have to go into the countryside than becoming too centralized.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are done almost. And I would like to add that skill manpower maybe, like we need a lot of critical care technicians or ICU technician is a need, what I felt during COVID pandemic. Especially your dialysis technician, your ventilator operators, they are much
Yes, in fact, that is on
that's, yeah. And secondly, simply training nurses is not enough. What I have seen is that they need to be very thorough and hands-on. How to put a cannula, how to put an IV.
Exactly, ma'am.
What I feel is that hands-on training, skills is very important rather than knowledge. That is
Exactly, ma'am.
and that's why the skill is all we are sitting here. It's all about skill and the confidence to perform a procedure. Many times I have seen even the fresh MBBS graduates are very scared to even touch the knife. So that's what I feel that the present generation needs to more focus on developing skills and gaining that confidence to operate alone or independently with a patient.
In fact, ma'am, we are in partnership with ITS Singapore in this regard. So they have got the best training facility from the hands-on point of view. So we feel that it will be a very productive training for the, in fact, advanced training for the nurses.
And therein you can also think of having simulators. Nowadays patient simulators are there,
yes.
which can make the way pilots learn.
Yes, it's
Simulating
solid.
the flight exercise. Just so
Yes, ma'am, it is
simulators
already.
can.
We implement AR, VR technique also to impart the training. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Panigrahi and Dr. Das, and thank you all for patiently hearing. I do understand lunch is there, but thanks for registering your, I would say, the food for thought. So you for attending this food for thought. Thank you one and all. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was a lovely session indeed. Now I request our additional secretary, sir, Pinaki sir, to present the mementos to our guests. Thank you, and I request all our guests to pose for a photograph, please. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. With this, it is our end of session 2, but we have our lunch arrangements for all our guests at Swasti Premium. But before that, we will conduct our session 3. And I request you all to have patience and sit quietly while the session is going on. And this is the last session which deals with the VUCA World of Future. Ladies and gentlemen, I am referring to the session on future skills for future world. May I now please call upon stage the panelists and moderators for the session Future Skills for Future World. And I request you all, please put your hands together to welcome our honorable guest. For the session, our panelists are Srimati Sweta Mohanty Roy, Head of HR and SAP India, Shri Saurav Roy, Chief CSR Tata Steel Limited and CEO Tata Steel Foundation, Shri Raghuram Talluri, CEO LoadShare, Shri Amarendra Sahu, Co-founder and CEO Nestaway, and the moderator for the session will be Shri Narayanan Ramaswamy, National Leader Education and Skills, KPMG. I request all our panelists and moderator kindly come up the stage and take your seats. And I request all our audience, please clap and welcome our panelists on stage. conclave. And please accept this token of love from our side.
Thank you.
And I request our moderator, sir, please continue with the session.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. At the outset, before I start, I would like to thank on my behalf, on the panel's behalf, for giving us this opportunity. It's really wonderful to see the state take so much importance and give that importance to skill development. And thanks for this session. They normally say the best session, the most interesting session is before lunch. Because if you want to retain people, which is already thinning down, the only way to do this is get the best speakers. So our session, I believe, has got some of the best speakers. What we are going to speak about is the future of work, which is a very interesting topic. So how is work going to be different going forward? What are the changes that are going to happen in terms of the requirements for work? And hence, what's the kind of skill development that we should be looking for, right? And you saw the introduction to the panelists, simply amazing set of panelists, carefully chosen from traditional industry, from the new age industries. So let me start by just a few words of my thoughts in terms of why this is relevant. I think if you look at some of the mega trends that are already showing up in terms of how the work will evolve. One, as we all know, is the impact of technology, be it the man-machine interface or the online models that have come up, or Industry 4.0, the social media impact, that's one. The second is the hybrid workplaces that are coming. Thanks to COVID, that's only got accentuated. There's also a lot of talk about a metaverse coming in and coming with, like, the holographic images, avatars of people coming in. The third is also in terms of the heterogeneity of the workplace. The women participation in the workplace has increased. We are increasingly looking at people with, the marginalized communities coming in a big way. Silver economy, where people of different age groups coming together, global workforce coming together. So the heterogeneity has increased. Fourth trend we also see is a lot of environmental impact and sustainability. And fifth is the expectation of the youth. Be it the gig works that they want to do, all of them is impacting that. So we're here to talk about that and how we can do. But before we get into it, let's listen to a short video in terms of the context of why we are here and what we are going to debate. Can we have the audio video, please?
In today's highly disruptive global scenario, it's important to define the future of work and the relevant skills required to make the global workforce ready. With the recent impact of COVID-19 pandemic, technology has redefined the workplace environment. It was interesting to note that across the sectors, technology adoption grew significantly, especially with governments and education sectors adopting faster as compared to the last 2 decades. As per reports from the World Economic Forum and McKinsey Global Institute, many of the current job roles will become redundant due to adoption of Industry 4.0, automation and AI. The need of manual and basic cognitive skills will be on the decline, and creation of opportunities in the technology, social, emotional will be in demand as a part of the evolution journey. Globally, the stakeholders are creating their own strategy to deal with the new opportunity in hand. Odisha, as a progressive state, has already put its foot forward by creating its Vision 2030 for skill development that aligns towards the sustainable development goals of the world. As a part of Make in Odisha Conclave 2022, Skill Development and Technical Education Department is bringing the best of minds from academy, industry, skill development and policy influencers to brainstorm further to refine the strategy further. Soon, a day will come when people across the globe will continue to ask our professionals, are you skilled? Or are you skilled in Odisha?
Wow, that was wonderful. Really delighted to see the importance that the state of Odisha gives for skill development, and I'm sure Skilled in Odisha will be a brand to reckon with. Thank you so much. Shweta, let me turn to you first. You represent the technology industry, which I believe is bearing the brunt of all these changes that are happening. So what are the changes that you are happening as a HR professional? You've been for long doing recruitment and looking at people for the job roles. How do you see that changing? Is it really as challenging as they say?
Thank you so much, Narayan. And let me start, by just extending my gratitude to the organizers and the Odisha Skill Development Authority for inviting me over. But most importantly, having a conversation on this very valid, topic, something which is, I'm sure, in the minds of everybody today. And, I represent the technology sector, so I will, give an idea about how fast and how dynamically things are changing in the technology sector. And if I really look at, the three aspects which are most important, which is the work, the workplace, and the worker, there is a dynamic shift which is happening in each of these from a technology perspective. If you look at the workplace, owing and thanks to the pandemic, today you really don't need to be sitting inside an office to do your technology work. You can be skilled in a particular area and be based out of anywhere. You could be actually based out of a tier 2, tier 3 city. What you essentially need is a good bandwidth, and you are able to do pretty much, cutting edge technology work sitting out from everywhere. Or you could be in your home office with, with a laptop, and you are pretty much on your own and solving the biggest technology challenges that, the world is facing. When you look at, the worker, there itself also we are seeing a significant shift, because the workers essentially do not want to be bound in a contract, which expects them to work on a particular job which is defined by a single organization. They really are looking at contracting, they are looking at gig, they are looking at having an opportunity to use their expertise for several people rather than just focusing on one organization. So that's a significant change. And the third and most important is the work itself. We did talk about a whole bunch about, how the advent of AI, data, machine learning is changing things. But we also do see that the way the technology is changing today and how dynamic it is and how fast-paced it is, it's really impossible for anybody to say that I'm skilled in a particular thing and be happy about it. You have to constantly evolve yourself, you have to constantly challenge yourself. And from that perspective, no longer an educational degree is as much as important as you being skilled in a particular area of technology. And that is one area where we are seeing a huge opportunity. I represent SAP, which is one of the largest tech organizations. And I see we are really going beyond just education qualifications, but looking at people's skill, but most importantly, looking at how they are able, what kind of learning agility they have, how they are able to repurpose themselves, how they are resilient to handle the technological changes which are happening and upskill themselves constantly. So if I really look at my job as a people practitioner, as a human resources person becomes very difficult, because pretty much anything which was templatized as the way to engage, hire, retain people is no longer relevant. What is really relevant is to be nimble, be agile, and make sure that each of these areas you are constantly reinventing yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was insightful. We always thought SAP and solutions such as SAP created this, the changes in jobs. Good to know that even in SAP you are facing the same issues, and the agility part is very interesting. Thank you. So Saurabh, let me turn to you. On one side we're talking about this new age industry technology. On the other hand, we almost believe that, traditional sectors such as yours is not at all affected, which I know is not true. But in my view, the impact and the need for you to be relevant is perhaps more difficult in my view. I just want your views in terms of how do you look at the impact on future of work in traditional sectors, manufacturing sector and related areas such as yours.
So thank you, Ryan, for the question, and thank you to the organizers for having us here, having the foundation here. So, so we look at, I like the articulation that she brought in about the work, the workplace, and the worker. Just want to look at it a little differently. So first of all, manufacturing as a whole is probably undergoing what, in many ways the banking industry underwent when computerization happened right up front. It's a quiet, seeping, creeping change that's coming in. It's been around for some time now, and it's just that people are catching on now and deciding how to react and what's going to happen. And there are some of us who sort of caught on to it, started grappling with it a little earlier, who now may have some solutions, but we don't really know whether they'll work well or not. So that's the macro picture. So 2-3 things are happening. One is, technology is seeping in, and then there's no question about it. And there are 2 things that are happening because of that. One is there are completely newer job roles that are getting created, right? So if you had the intensity of data, analysts, control workers, there's a new cohort of jobs within the manufacturing space that are getting created. There's a certain set of job roles where a job role is not changing, but the method is changing, right? It's not as if jobs are becoming obsolete. It's not as if, you'll be out of a job. But how you deliver, what you're capable for, that definition is changing. And then it's true. I mean, there is a proportion of jobs which are probably not going to be around going forward. In our experience, it's this middle rung. The newer jobs are all very glamorous, nice. It's a question of what kind of training facilities you're setting up to catch up to that. The middle jobs where it's like, that classic thing about, do you put something into boiling water, does the water around you boil? The water around you is boiling, and that's where we see most attention that companies need to put. The other thing that's happening, which is, to take the workers' narrative, I'm going to use a little bit of development jargon here maybe, but jobs are becoming more rights-based. There's greater rights consciousness that's coming into, the workforce, even people at the entry stage, which I think is good. Overall, it's a great sign, right? But when I say rights-based, one is, what you expect out of the job. I mean, what else is this entire gig economy? It's someone asserting their right to say that, hey, I want to work 4 hours here, 4 hours here, and I should be able to do that. So unless as, large-scale employers or trainers, you recognize that saying that the gig economy is going to play out, these are symptoms, but the actual movement that's happening is there's greater rights consciousness. And I'm saying this from the Tata experience. We've also seen people place much greater premium on businesses who do the right thing. What I'm saying is probably a little old-fashioned, but we've actually tangibly seen that go up. Saying that if you're doing right by your workforce, if you're doing right in terms of business decisions, there is a greater premium and the better talent tends to come to you. And that trend has sort of gone up in the last few years. So this is what we've been seeing, and I think 2030, this is where we are headed broadly.
Very, very, very eloquently put out, Saurav. Unfortunately, given the time, I would want to deliberate this maybe for the next 2 hours, but very interesting insights in terms of even the category of jobs that are getting affected and why people are going to it. This is very interesting. Thank you so much. So we also have an equal share of what I call as industries that didn't exist before. While we know that an IT industry or a steel industry was there, we also have representation of what is called as new age leaders, where 5 years back, if somebody had said such an industry, we wouldn't have even believed. So let me look to Raghu, who represents Load Share, a logistics firm. Logistics not in the traditional sense that we know, but completely different. But almost like what we would have wished for some time back to happen in the cyberspace. Raghu, what is your thought on how do you get people for this? When we don't know what is the industry itself, how do you get people, how do you train them, and I don't know how you retain them?
No, I'll just, this is close to lunch hour, so I'll just give you some numbers to give you a sense of what was 5 years back, what is now, and what is 5 years from now, right? So in lunchtime in Bhubaneswar 5 years back, the number of food deliveries that would have been done would have been 0, almost 0. Now, as we speak, in the lunch hour, I think there would be at least 5,000 to 7,000 deliveries that would be happening only in Bhubaneswar. So that just tells you how things have changed over the past 5, 6 years. You project that going forward, I would not be surprised if you say in the next 5 years there would be 15, 20,000 orders that would be delivered in Bhubaneswar alone during the lunch hour, right? All this is a new economy. All of this is powered by a new class of workers, we call the gig workers. Overall, just to put it in context, India has roughly like 10 million deliveries that would be happening every day. It's been done by 1 million, 10 lakh or delivery boys who are there. This segment didn't exist 5 years, not 5, but 10 years back, this segment didn't exist. As we go forward, this segment is only going to grow. We talk about drones coming in, but I think that's a reality maybe a decade out at least. So for the foreseeable future, there are going to be massive requirements of delivery boys who are working on a gig model. They are not employees. They are working on a per shipment model. And that makes it very unique and very challenging. The numbers that we talked about, like I said, right, it's 1 million, 10 lakh delivery boys. To get these guys to work in flexible hours. They don't come and work for 8 hours, morning till evening. No, they come in during a lunch peak. They come in during a dinner peak. E-commerce deliveries happen a particular slot. So to get these guys, we need to give them a economic proposition. I think that's one thing that has been very clearly established. As a company, we have 20,000 delivery boys who work with us. I feel very happy to say that many of these guys actually working with us full-time, they get 20,000 rupees plus per month, right? And this gives them a opportunity to create a great thing for their families. They're able to elevate their socio-economic status. As we go forward, we feel confident that this economic proposition for them will stand. So that's going to be the core of how do we get these guys into the fold. The second part of it is how do you retain them? And how do you make sure that you're upskilling them? Because this is not anybody's aspiration, right? This is, people will come in, they'll do it for some time, and they'll have to want to move on to something else. So as a company, as a quote-unquote employer of these people, we realize it. And therefore, we have to reconfigure ourselves to say, look, it's not a permanent job, but we want to make it attractive for us to get them in. And you'll find it very surprising that here is one of those industries in India where the demand is actually throttled because of supply, in the sense that we have more requirement of delivery boys than we have them, right? So we realize that for this to become more attractive for people, we have to create a way in which we say, look, come in. I'm going to also help you get skilled further. And I'm going to keep making sure that you have something to look forward to. And I realize that at one point of time, you'll move on and do something else, right? But for the period that is there, I want to be the best employer or best kind of provider of employment for these guys, right? So, and that goes to saying, how do we skill them? These are guys who are, they're not on a laptop. They're not going through formal training institutions or training courses which are held in a classroom. So this is on-the-job training. This is about telling them, hey, this is the way to deliver. This is the way in which we are going to help you understand how to work with our technology platform so that you are able to deliver the best customer experience for your customers, right? So this is a very different paradigm, and this is very interesting and challenging at the same time. And one thing I'd call out is, in the context of Odisha, we found that the delivery boys who work with us, both inside Odisha and outside, have been outstanding, which is why we are here trying to make it a larger program with the government to be able to get many more delivery boys to us, both inside Odisha to cater to the growing demand, and for the deliveries that are happening outside the state. How can this become a great feeder pool for us to be able to offer boys here a fantastic, decent employment, and to be able to provide, fulfill the demand that is outside all over India and which will continue to grow.
Oh, wonderful. Now, this is amazing, right? Imagine you need people. The job role is not very clear and it is changing. You don't have a big brand like SAP or Tata's and other things. You don't have a structured work environment, and you don't have a training program. Yet you have the biggest need for retaining people, and you are doing it innovatively. Amazing. Fantastic. So let me also turn now to Amrendra. Nest Away is almost a dream. I learned a lot about this with you. And like what logistics is a fundamental sector for industry, you're doing something that is fundamental for living from the beginning, just that you're doing it differently. How do you see people taking to your sector as you recruit? Most importantly, how do you give them a career? How do you give them the hope, like Raghu said? How do you attract them to be part of your setup for a longer period? And how do you see the future emerging?
Thank you for the question. You know, so we have gone full circles on this. When we started long back, some of these Western thoughts of employing gig and my views on gigs can be very different. You know, what happens in this, right? In the semi-skilled to unskilled job strata, the market is fully open. And hence, some of these services are not fairly priced. You know, because today, the consumers of services are people with surplus income, and for a better service, people are paying to the brand. But when the brands are recruiting people, because you know there is no difference as per the certificate, experience, training levels, that is kind of verifiable when you recruit. So you know the recruitments are happening at fairly open market rates and with a free participation of people coming in at the lower end of the jobs. This basically the market is always pro-employer and not pro the participants, right? So one of the ways that we think is to kind of regulate and kind of license, you know, if you're a great plumber, there must be a certificate. And hence people should pay you $700, not 150, because that's what you get paid. Because as a consumer, I also know that this guy may not have the necessary skills. It's an odd job. The problem of odd/gig jobs is that market usually underprices them because market does not know that it is with skill, without skill. So one of the things that I think is essential when we are sort of thinking about pushing a lot of people into employment is to also send them and create a skill profile for them, figure out a way to, you know, restrict entry or sort of regulate it so that people get fair wages. Look, as a business, I wouldn't take up the opportunity of developing people because I already have so many things against me. I have to build my business, I have to deliver profits, and there are multiple stakeholders, right? I want to be a fair player. I want to say that, you know, we employ multi-skilled, we call them MSTs, which is multi-skilled trained people who could do plumbing, you know, carpentry and bunch of things. It's kind of shocking that, you know, if I want to even pay them 30,000 rupees a month, not 15,000 rupees, I don't know whether they know the job right. So I think expecting industry to set up skill centers, train them, bring them back is a very tall order, especially when, you know, there are other organizations working on the same problem. So there's a lot of duplication of effort. I think these people deserve better. They deserve licensing. They deserve a certificate. And they deserve fair wages of 30,000 and above. Unless we do that, because the rich in India can afford. The problem of rich in India is that they wouldn't pay, and we're a very value-conscious society. If I can't distinguish that, you know, you are doing some odd jobs in the day and plumbing in the night, or you're a skilled plumber. So some of this initiative like Skills in Odisha is great, but when it comes to employment market, we have no clue. We don't know. So I think they need to come with a profile that's kind of immutable, which markets could refer to. And I would, as an individual consumer, forget as a brand, I would always pay more if I could ascertain that you really have the skills that you're talking about. In engineering, in medicine, in law, it's kind of implicit, right? Because you never see an employer hiring below fair market wages. Now the problem of this market because of free entry is that fair wages is anywhere between 0 to 5,000 to 10,000 to 15,000. And you know, industries are cutting it short by saying, we'll offer bare minimum salaries because, you know, that's what the mandate is, which is kind of half done for people who are participating in the market. So my view is to more, you know, sort of really bring their skill onto employers with a lot of verifiability. And I think, you know, their careers will be taken care of by themselves. It's a tall, I think it's not even right for me to even tell myself that I can manage their careers. Who knows, a plumber can tomorrow become a lawyer. I think we do wrong by them by creating a profile and sort of perennially sort of, you know, kind of boxing it around. So I think to me, gig needs to come with skill profile, or else it's just, it can degenerate into exploitation plus carelessness. Sort of, that's the complete spectrum.
Oh, wonderful, Amrendra. Very nice to hear. Like, Amrendra is the founder and an employer, and nice to hear him speak about from an employee perspective. What are the difficulties? What are their growth paths? Really tells a lot about how you care for the employees. But there are certain interesting things that he said, and we have Raghu in audience. Like I'm sure he's listening to some of those additional expectation he has of, from maybe government can step in, play a role in terms of defining these things. And I'm sure Odisha government, under the leadership of Raghu, Hemant and others are doing a lot. Could start in Odisha for all you know. But thank you so much. So I know we have very little time left, and also grumbling stomachs are not the best way to listen to stuff, how much ever we do. So I just want to put some perspectives and then ask you your views on this. Is irrespective of whether you are a traditional industry, you are a new age industry, or you are manufacturing, or you are creating this new sector, there are certain things that remain. As Saurav rightly put, sometimes the output or expectation of the job is the same, but how you deliver and what is expected to deliver has changed. Earlier, marketing used to be all about the regular media. Now suddenly it has become social media and things of that kind. So my question is, what is it as industry people that we should continue to do for the future workforce? What is it that you should anticipate and start do? And what are certain things that we should stop doing? Right? Let me start from you, Amrendra.
I think we should stop patronizing. I think we should stop thinking of people in terms of, what their past was. I think a past in India, as all of us know, can come with various shades. As an industry, if we could think of it that way, that a plumber deserves 30,000, not 10 or 8, just because he doesn't come with those necessary things, and refer to, skilled in Odisha and bunch of things, and not even at our expense. It's just the right thing to do to me. And, if businesses try to push that we need skilled people and we are not going to work and we are going to pay them right money and we are going to charge right money from the customers, I think this entire value narrative of India is everyone is trying to underprice. Which is people like me make money in any which ways. But I think what goes down is kind of suboptimal. So I think we playing the right role by saying we need skilled people. If our job needs skills, and skilling is the mandate of governments, and because we need the certificates, licenses to sort of, and it happens abroad, right? I think you don't get a barber in UK without having gone through mandatory training and this thing, right? I think while they're training, they have kept the market open. So I think a lot of careful deliberations on those aspects is what I would expect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Shweta, what do you think we should start, we should stop, maybe we should anticipate and initiate?
I would say that for long, we had a certain template of what talent looks like, right? And that template was a certain pedigree, a certain kind of, persona of who should really be a future talent. I think we should throw this, templatized and definition of talent. Skills and talent, skills is the new currency. So that is what we should really look at. Pedigree is institute, where you're coming for really matters less, but it is really important on, what the person is coming with and how he is able to really give in and learn. I think that's the biggest thing that I look forward to. And the things that we should stop doing is predicting future of work. That is something which I find extremely, hilarious, because it's like crystal gazing and, seeing that we have figured it out. All of us, have to be very, very, aware that things will evolve very fast, and it is up to us to keep pace to it. So anything where we say that we have figured it out is really a misnomer.
Very, very, very well said. I mean, prejudices in a different sense is something that you're saying you should avoid. So let me turn to you, Raghu. What are your thoughts in terms of what should we stop, start, and
I think we should start recognizing that there's a new economy that is brewing, which is a massive source of employment generation. It might not be very cool and high skilled, but it certainly puts many people in the next layer of socioeconomic development, right? So I think the effort should be to recognize it, and for governments and all employment bodies to figure out ways to make sure that this demand-supply gap is bridged actively by them kind of enabling and matchmaking better, right? And providing support so that we can, where we need work, we are able to find workers, and this is high quality, decent work, right? So that's number one, what should continue and start doing more. What we should stop doing is, in a way, I think we don't have a very strong dignity of labor, right? And therefore people look down on some of these jobs. But look, these are jobs that are pulling people up from a lower economic strata and making them to stand and make sure they're supporting their families. So I wish there is more kind of positive kind of messaging around this so that people feel like, hey, it's a great place to start. In US, most people actually work on a per hour basis. That's the basis of how CEOs have gone up. They've started their job as a McDonald's restaurant worker, right? And they've worked their way up. I think the same thing should happen in India, where we should recognize that there is dignity to starting off, and this is not your end state, but hey, get a good start in life, be self-dependent or become independent by some of these and figure out what else you want to do in life. So we should kind of improve the positive messaging around these kind of jobs.
Thanks, Raghu. I think contextually, this state, Odisha, has done a lot in terms of bringing back the pride of being a skilled labor. In many of these occasions, be it the World Skills Center or the entire program, Project Shakti, in many areas, I think they're bringing back. So it's well began, but you're saying it should spread out and become a movement of sorts. Like, thank you so much. Saurabh, let me turn to you. I know you're the last speaker in that sense, but I also have a special request. We talked about some of the roles that should not go obsolete. Maybe we are ignoring and we are not giving it enough thrust. If you can add that also when you speak about the...
So, what we stop and what we start in the context. So I think what we stop is a school of thought or a conversation on future skills, which does not take into account that wherever we are in 2030 or 2035, whatever horizon we choose, the overall construction of India Incorporated, the concept is going to remain the same. It is going to be 97, 98% MSME, etc. You know, we shouldn't adopt a large industry model and consider it to be applicable everywhere. So that's number one. That's a school of thought that has to stop. And the other this thing is, you know, I think, yes, there are certain roles that are not, certain jobs, certain vocations that are not talked about now, but I think they're probably going to become extremely important, more important than what they are right now. I think the example that we were discussing was, you know, today we have, if you just look at the role of an economist, okay, you will have risk economists, you will have quant economists, you will have, you know, multiple kinds of economists. Where is the next big agronomist? Agriculture economist. You know, so there are many startups who are doing brilliant work on this space, but you know, somehow agricultural economics right from 1970s, 80s seems to be just going on the wane. And this is not just because, you know, of a food basket argument and all of that. If you just look at climate vulnerability, the most profound impact is going to be on food outcomes. So, you know, so there are certain things we need to stop a school of thought on future skills which doesn't take this into account. Automatically will lead to dignity of labor or dignity of vocations, as they case me. And I think the one thing that we need to start doing a little is understand that also this conversation on future skills suddenly places a higher understanding of what merit means. You know, whereas if you look at educational outcomes in society, they are static at best and dipping at most. But the concept and expectation of merit is going like this. What's going to happen is for the next 10, 15 years, we're still going to have a workforce which will struggle to catch up to this definition of merit. So the next 10 years, whatever the roadmap, is going to be a struggle unless we understand this. And that is where conversations like this and the work that I think the government of Odisha has started, initiated, and we're doing is going to be critical. So that gap is something one has to start being conscious about. So,
Fantastic. Very, very well put. Thank you so much. I know we well passed into the lunchtime as well, so I don't want to, you know, belabor more. I don't want to capture the points as well because it will be a long session. All I can say is, you know, I think Shweta, you mentioned, it's perhaps futile to start predicting future and predicting what will happen on the workforce. It's better that, you know, instead of predicting what it is, we get aligned, we are agile. And as we move, we kind of, you know, align ourselves to be, you know, whatever job role that comes in, we are prepared. And So for skill development institutions, I think the big message that we have from the panel, apart from your technical skills, apart from your life skills, also teach them how to learn and unlearn. The most important skill that the youngsters, and why youngsters, everybody who's working, who wants to work should learn, is how to unlearn and how to learn and how to learn faster. With that, we once again thank the government of Odisha for giving us this big opportunity, and we really thank the time that you all spent here in spite of, like I said, the grumbling stomachs to be part of here. Thank you so much, and we'll conclude
Thank
this
you,
here.
sir. And we have one question from the audience today.
Yeah. So
And I request the volunteer to pass on the mic, please.
we'll be very happy to take if there are questions. Yeah, please go ahead.
Am I audible, sir? Sir, you told job role not changed, but method changed. So that is a big challenge for the skill institution is concerned. Basically, I'm heading one polytechnic, Bose Polytechnic, Cuttack. My question is that we are following some certain curriculum which is designed by university or AICT or SCTBT. Our technology is changing very fast, but it is not possible to change our curriculum frequently because our curriculum is not very much dynamic. How industry can support us to make our students industry ready? Because industry is telling we are ready to pay more, but we are not getting skilled manpower. But we are facing a lot of difficulties to manage the future skill. That is the skill that what industry need. Because it does not permit us to put new equipments as per the need of industry, and it is taking huge time to train our trainer also. So that is a big challenge for us. So why not industry come forward and set up the lab in the institute and train our teachers so that our students can be industry ready.
It's a very good suggestion, valid point, taken on board. In fact, in many of those countries where skill development has been successful, we keep quoting Germany and other places, right?
Yes.
That's exactly what happens. Industry takes the center stage and starts from the beginning, right from defining the curriculum to being a teacher
Assess.
inside the classroom and taking internships and as well as placements and other things they take care. So I think the biggest need is industry should come into the middle and center of skill development rather than be in the periphery. On a lighter note, while I asked Sweta, I also think upgrading is not so difficult. SAP talks about lunchtime upgrades. I'm sure they will have solutions for that.
Yeah, no, but you brought out a very valid point, sir. And, I think all the technology organizations are very well realizing this. And
Yes.
that's exactly the reason why you would find that we are really going out of our way and, starting labs in many of these, technology, institutes and universities. And the reason why we are doing this is because we can't also predict which technology will come in. Sometimes students are ahead of us.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful way for us to collaborate with the upcoming talent and, be part of the curriculum, make sure if there is something new coming in, we are able to pass that
Yes,
information and that skill sets to the colleges. So as I see the future, I do see that this is something which is going to be a single most differentiator about how academia and industries are going to collaborate.
In a
they-
win-win contribution.
Yes, that's very, very important, and this is only going to amplify in the coming months and years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
As we close, I also would urge people to look at this nice compendium of what the state has been doing that has come up. There are many initiatives that Odisha is doing which is captured in this book. So please take time out to read this, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. What a wonderful session it was. And I request our additional secretary, sir, our esteemed guest. I request the audience, please put your hands together for all our esteemed guests. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a lovely session indeed. you so much, and I request all our guests to pose for a photograph. Thank you so much, and we have lunch arrangement for all our guests at Swasti Premium, and the food coupon is inside that folder. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us today and making this event a grand success. See you next year, and till then, goodbye. Thank you and have a lunch, healthier lunch and happy lunch. I am a host Pupul Bhaiya signing out, and see you next. Thank you so much.
Should I keep both open? Should I keep both open? Checking the second one now. One at a time is better. Opening one at a time is better. Check. No. Yeah, we'll switch it during 2:30. Can we just check the videos quickly? Both the videos.
Sundargarh. As the name implies, it is one of the most beautiful districts of Odisha, where tradition meets modernity, surrounded by nature, and where its beauty is further enhanced by the four rivers Brahmani, Shank, Koyal, and Ebe passing through here. But how is Sundargarh known to the world? Industrial capital of Odisha. Sundargarh is recognized as an industrial district in the map of Odisha, and it occupies a prominent position in the mineral map of the country. It was the year 1959, Rourkela Steel Plant, the first integrated steel plant in the public sector in India, started its production, and the growth journey of industrialization of Sundargarh district begins from here. The growth of downstream and ancillary industries, which started in 1959, is now a highly evolved ecosystem. We have large industries like Larsen and Dobro, Dalmia Bharat Cement, Dalmia Bharat Refractories, JSW Cement, NTPC Super Thermal, IFGL Refractories, and others. In addition, there are large industries nearby such as Hindalco, JSW Steels, Vedanta, JSPL. The district has significant mineral resources such as coal, iron ore, manganese ore, bauxite, dunite, limestone, dolomite, and quartz. We have a large number of engineering units, manufacturing components to fabrication of large technological structures, equipment manufacturing, high-tech powder manufacturing, etc., which finds market all over the country and abroad. Amongst others, we make engine bogies, components for traction motor for railways, component for tractor industry, general engineering equipments, supporting manufacturers all over the country, solution provider for heat transfer, crushing equipment, foundry fabrication, and others. Being one of the major districts of Odisha, with political stability under the strongest leadership ever, Sundargarh is performing today and is one of the places with the greatest potential for business opportunities. Rourkela, we offer perfect work-life balance. the smart city Rourkela in Sundargarh district, which is also known as Mini India for its metropolitan and diverse culture. The city is called the industrial capital of Odisha, with shopping malls, restaurants, pubs, and other amenities. Rourkela offers a metro lifestyle. When in Rourkela, no traffic jam. Hence, you will have more time for your family and will be able to maintain a perfect work-life balance. The city is also a major education hub, having India's premier technical institute, NIT, 2 medical colleges, STPI, and Biju Patnaik University of Technology. With many elite and prestigious